Hi guys, welcome to Studio Wildlife. In today's video I'm going to show you how I painted this cheetah on watercolour paper in acrylics. As cheetahs are an African animal, I wanted this painting to feel quite warm and quite bright, so I went with a yellow colour scheme. So I started by blocking in my background using a mix of yellow ochre, some white and some raw sienna. If you enjoyed the video, please don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, it means so much to us. To do this, I just used a 1-inch flat brush and then blocked in the structure of the cheetah, again using that 1-inch flat brush, but this time using a little bit of yellow ochre mixed with some white and some raw umber and some burnt sienna for the shadow areas. I then refined the drawing of the cheetah using some watered down burnt sienna and a small filbert brush. For this step I used burnt sienna first, and then over the top I used a mix of burnt umber and black to give a very dark brown colour. I started blocking in the first layer of where I wanted the highlights to be and the brighter colours with some cadmium yellow and some white. For this I used a smaller, I think it's a 1/4 inch flat brush. And for this one I used a bristle brush rather than a synthetic brush. I then used some, I think it was raw umber and some white to create a very pale browny grey colour for the areas that I would like white later on. And lighten this up a little bit with some more white just to add some form to my cheetah. Next, using a small detail brush, I start to refine the drawing a little bit more using a mix of burnt umber and phthalo blue and a little bit of black straight from the tube, just to add some dark lines and the black stripes and spots found within the cheetah fur. For the nose, I use the detail brush just to draw in the basic shapes of the nostrils and start to work from a darker colour to a lighter colour, just like the rest of the painting, building up with the different colours that I see in my reference photo. Using a mix of yellow ochre, raw umber and white, I start to add in the first layer of fur detail. This first layer is more about establishing the direction of the fur rather than anything else. I work over the top of this with some burnt umber just to add some redder areas of the fur. Continue this process, this time using some yellow ochre and some white to add the lighter fur details. When I'm painting fur, it's not all about just the details, it's about seeing and visualising that form, that 3D structure of whatever it is I'm painting, and trying to maintain that form and that 3D shape throughout the entire painting. For the highlights here, I'm using a mix of cadmium yellow and white. So I like to adjust my angle when I'm painting, and I like to paint upright as well because it allows me to visualise the shape a little bit more and make sure I've not warped the picture, like elongated it or stretched it because of the perspective that I was sat at. So putting it upright like this allows me to adjust those proportions a little bit and allows me to make it look a little bit more realistic or a little bit closer to life. You can see I'm just using various yellows, whites and oranges to add the final layer of the fur, or the final layers of this fur detail. Just building it up, working from dark to light. I make sure to leave lots of gaps between each stroke of fur to show the layers of paint underneath showing through, so there's lots of variation in colour and it looks like that fur is layered just like it would do on a real animal. I want the white fur underneath the mouth to look a little bit softer, so I'm using a small filbert brush to do this. I just glaze over some raw umber mixed with black for the spots using that filbert brush. Again, I don't need these to be massively detailed. If I was going to do this as a detail piece, I would be painting these spots in with a small detail brush, but for this one, because it's just a sketch, I'm not too bothered, and I just wanted to give the impression of spots rather than actually painting the spot the same as the fur. For this one, I decided to give the background sort of the impression of spots, and I glazed over the final picture just because I wanted to establish some more of those shadows and some more of those highlights on that cheetah's face. I finished it off, as I do with most of my sketches, but by just giving it a little abstract twist, using some burnt umber and some metallic copper coloured paint. This copper coloured paint really picks up the light when it hits it at certain angles, and I really like the appearance of the finished painting. And then, as always, as you should do with all of your work, I finish it off with my signature. Here's the finished outcome. If you'd like to see this in more detail, please head over to Instagram at dwilsonarts to see it properly. As always, thank you so much for watching, and for more wildlife art tips, please head on over to studiowildlife.com.